Carlos Ghosn, the iconic leader of Nissan for nearly 18 years, had fled from house arrest in Japan. A week later, Ghosn held a press conference, claiming he had escaped injustice and political persecution. The Japanese government and international media were left baffled, trying to figure out how someone could escape from an island nation under 24-hour surveillance. While the world was fascinated by the escape, Makoto Uchida, Nissan's newly appointed chief executive officer and president, had urgent matters to address. Nearly 2 years of managerial scandals involving Ghosn had severely impacted Nissan's sales and profits and strained its alliance with French automaker Renault. Additionally, Nissan's brand identity was unclear, and its luxury brand, Infiniti, faced stiff competition from global rivals. As Nissan worked to regain the trust of its stakeholders, Uchida and the board of directors had several tough challenges ahead. They needed to strengthen leadership and governance, manage the alliance with Renault, and find a path to sustainability and profitability. A critical question loomed: could adopting a Japanese corporate governance model help Nissan avoid similar failures in the future, or should the company consider a new governance model from the more than 20 international markets in which it operated? Nissan's history. Nissan was established in 1933 in Yokohama, Japan, about 27 kilometers south of Tokyo. Over the following 2 decades, Nissan emerged as a leading global automaker. In 1960, it won the prestigious Deming Prize for Engineering Excellence, marking the start of numerous awards for its design, affordability, and reliability. By 2019, Nissan was operating in nearly 20 countries worldwide. Post-war growth and success. After World War II, Nissan focused on producing reliable, low-cost, fuel-efficient cars. By the 1950s, it had established itself as a significant player in the Japanese automotive market. In 1958, Nissan began exporting its cars to North America under the Datsun brand. This move paid off, as Datsun quickly outperformed competitors like Toyota and Volkswagen in the U.S. market. A statement from Kyodo News highlighted Nissan's success in the U.S., noting, "Datsun was a big seller, especially in the United States, where its sporty, 2-door hatchbacks became synonymous with fuel efficiency during the 1970s oil crisis." For many teenagers in the 1970s, a Datsun was their first car. During the energy crisis of the early 1970s, Japanese cars, with their superior quality, better mileage, and greater reliability at a lower price, met a crucial need in the U.S. market. Nissan's popularity soared with the introduction of the 240Z, a sporty and highly popular model that sold for only $3,526 in 1970. By 1972, Nissan's share of the Japanese automobile market had expanded to 32%. Rebranding and strategic missteps. In 1981, Nissan decided to rebrand its Datsun vehicles to Nissan, a move that confused many customers unfamiliar with the Nissan brand. This rebranding resulted in significant financial losses for the company. The 1990s marked a major shift in Nissan's business strategy. The company prioritized quality over customer preferences, expecting that most clients would prefer fuel-efficient vehicles over more playful, imaginative cars. Instead of reinvesting profits into research and development for new car models like its competitors, Nissan directed funds into various organizations and real estate, contributing to its Keiretsu business group partners. This practice was based on the belief that investing in partners would encourage trustworthiness and cooperation within the value chain. From 1990 to 1999, Nissan directed over $4 billion to Keiretsu partners. Financial troubles and market decline. Starting in 1993, Nissan experienced 7 consecutive years of losses. The company faced issues such as uninspired marketing, overstaffing, strict administration, outdated vehicle designs, and conflicts with trade unions. Consequently, Nissan quickly lost over 25% of its market share to rivals Honda and Toyota, both in Japan and the US. By the 1998-99 fiscal year, Nissan's sales had plummeted by $5.6 billion, and the company was burdened with $22 billion in debt, in addition to the $20 billion owed by its Keiretsu partners. The Asian monetary crisis further exacerbated these issues, depreciating the Japanese yen by 10% against the US dollar. Due to these internal troubles and the external crisis, Credit rating agencies such as Moody's and Standard & Poor's warned in February 1999 that they would downgrade Nissan's stock rating to junk status if the company did not receive financial help from another source. As Makoto Uchida and Nissan's board of directors faced these daunting challenges, they had to navigate the path to restoring the company's leadership, strengthening governance, and revitalizing its alliance with Renault. The broader question remained: could Nissan's adoption of a Japanese corporate governance model help avoid such failures in the future, or was it time to consider new governance strategies from its diverse international markets? Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi Alliance. In the late 1990s, Nissan faced a financial crisis that threatened its survival. To navigate this difficult period, Nissan needed a partner that could provide both financial support and new management strategies. Fortunately, the global auto industry was experiencing rapid consolidation, with several significant mergers and acquisitions taking place. On March 27, 1999, Renault stepped in and purchased 36.8% of Nissan's shares for $5.5 billion. This investment provided Nissan with the crucial financial backing it needed to avoid bankruptcy and start rebuilding. By acquiring a substantial share of Nissan, Renault gained significant control and access to Nissan's advanced innovations. In October 2001, Renault and Nissan announced a new alliance plan to further accelerate their growth. This plan included mutual shareholding, with Renault increasing its stake in Nissan from 36.8% to 43.4% and Nissan acquiring 15% of Renault's shares. In early 2002, the Renault-Nissan Alliance was officially registered in Amsterdam as a 50-50 strategic management company. This move facilitated strategic administration, created synergies, and allowed the supervision of corporate management between the two companies. The alliance was built on the principle that each partner would work towards generating financial benefits for the other while maintaining their own brand image and values. The evolution of the alliance. By September 2019, Renault held a 43.4% voting stake in Nissan, while Nissan owned a 15% non-voting stake in Renault. Due to French laws, Nissan did not have control rights in Renault because Renault's shareholding exceeded 40%. Both Nissan and Renault were listed companies, with Nissan on the Tokyo Stock Exchange and Renault on the Euronext NV exchange in Paris. They used the equity method of accounting to record their investments in each other, reflecting their significant influence and control. Several other major shareholders, including domestic and foreign financial institutions, owned stock in Nissan Global, while individual shareholding was about 20% of total ownership. Expansion with Mitsubishi. In May 2016, Nissan announced its intention to acquire a controlling stake in Mitsubishi Motors Corporation. This announcement came shortly after Mitsubishi was found to have misrepresented the fuel mileage ratings of 4 small vehicle models, including 2 models made for Nissan. A few months later, Nissan acquired a 34% stake in Mitsubishi for $2.29 billion, making it Mitsubishi's single largest shareholder. As a result, Mitsubishi joined the alliance, creating the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi coalition. Impact and strategic goals. The combined output of Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi exceeded 10 million units annually. The alliance employed more than 450,000 workers and managed 10 significant brands: Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Infiniti, Renault Samsung, Dacia, Alpine, Datsun, Venucia, and Lada. The partnership also had strategic relationships with other industry peers, including Daimler AG of Germany and Dongfeng Motor Corporation of China. In 2017, the alliance launched a 6-year plan with the goal of doubling annual synergies by €10 billion. This goal was to be achieved through incremental revenue, cost savings, and cost avoidance. The plan focused on working together towards zero-emission vehicles, common platforms, powertrains, and autonomous electric vehicles with connected technologies. Sales forecasts were projected to exceed 14 million cars, resulting in an annual turnover of $240 billion. Rise of Nissan under the leadership of Carlos Ghosn. Carlos Ghosn served as Nissan's CEO from 2001 until April 2017, when he stepped down to retain his position as chairman of the organization. He also held the roles of chairman and CEO of Renault starting in 2009 and chairman of Mitsubishi starting in 2016. Born in Brazil in 1954 to French and Brazilian parents of Lebanese descent, Ghosn attended college in Paris. After graduating at the age of 24, he joined the French firm Michelin. Ghosn quickly rose through the ranks, becoming the Chief Operating Officer (COO) of Michelin's Brazilian subsidiary, where he managed large projects in challenging conditions, such as Brazil's highly inflationary environment. He was later promoted to head of Michelin's North American office, where he played a key role in the high-profile merger with Uniroyal Goodrich during recessionary times. Despite his success at Michelin, Ghosn realized that he could never become the president of the company because it was family-run. Seeking new opportunities, he joined Renault in 1996 as Executive Vice President of Advanced Research and Development, Manufacturing, and Purchasing. Following a failed merger between Renault and Volvo Cars, Ghosn was tasked with turning Nissan around financially. His cost-efficiency obsession earned him the nickname, "Le Cost Killer," among Renault's leadership and workforce. With experience in 4 major markets and proficiency in 5 languages, Ghosn seemed well-suited to turn around a global company in trouble. Overcoming doubts and cultural challenges. From the start, Ghosn faced skepticism from Japanese policymakers and business leaders, who viewed him as an outsider imposing Western capitalist concepts on Japan's semi-socialist corporate culture. Industry experts predicted a cultural clash between French and Japanese management styles and doubted Ghosn's ability to address Nissan's critical financial situation. At that time, Nissan was burdened with increasing losses and debts exceeding $22 billion, and its outdated brand image was struggling against more modern competitors. Despite these challenges, Ghosn boldly promised to step down if Nissan did not achieve profitability by March 2001, giving himself only 2 years to turn the company around. Remarkably, it took him just 18 months. By October 2000, Nissan was registering profits, much to the surprise of his critics. Ghosn, then 44, quickly gained attention for his vigorous and motivational leadership style. Known for working long hours, he earned the nickname, Mr. 7-Eleven. However, he eventually adjusted his schedule to better prepare for the future. Embracing and leveraging cultural differences. Ghosn understood that if he tried to force changes without respecting Japanese culture, he would fail. He believed in embracing and channeling cultural differences for rapid development. Ghosn emphasized transparency, execution, and communication. He stated, "When you get a clear strategy and communicate your priorities, it's a pleasure working in Japan. The Japanese are so organized and know how to make the best of things. They respect leadership." Ghosn made a concerted effort to engage with employees, holding long discussions to listen to their ideas about Nissan. He created cross-functional teams to generate proposals for change, believing this approach would increase enthusiasm and resolve communication issues. These teams helped leaders find new methods and challenge existing practices. Ghosn focused on 4 key areas: developing new vehicles and markets, improving the Nissan brand, reinvesting in innovation, and reducing costs. Strategic reforms and success. Ghosn introduced a matrix organizational structure at the top to promote clear communication. Each employee was given dual responsibilities, functional and regional, resulting in 2 supervisors per employee. This structure helped employees understand both functional and territorial issues. Ghosn also implemented incentive-based remuneration, including money and stock options tied to performance targets, a significant departure from the traditional Japanese compensation framework. Ghosn's reforms were successful, elevating Nissan to the number 2 position in Japan's auto industry, behind Toyota and ahead of Honda. He reduced debt ratios, focused on cost-cutting, streamlined the board of directors, reorganized accounts, and sold off non-performing assets. Ghosn shut down 5 local plants and laid off 21,000 employees, using the funds to pay off debts. By the 2002-03 financial year, Nissan posted record sales and profits, selling 2.77 million units worldwide and achieving approximately $7 billion in profits with a high margin of 10.8%. Under Ghosn's leadership, Nissan enjoyed 2 decades of remarkable growth. The pay scandal and Ghosn's arrest. On November 19, 2018, in the middle of the night, members of the Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office arrested Carlos Ghosn and Nissan Representative Director Greg Kelly on suspicion of misrepresenting funds in the company's annual reports. Both executives were caught off guard. An internal investigation had been carried out by Nissan under the leadership of Hiroto Saikawa, who was Nissan's CEO at the time. Saikawa, who had been appointed CEO by Ghosn the previous year when Ghosn stepped down, initiated the investigation in March 2018 after receiving information from a Nissan foreign official in the legal division. The investigation begins. The whistleblower communicated concerns about ZA Capital BV, ZA, a Nissan subsidiary set up in 2010 in a suburb of Amsterdam. Ghosn was the CEO of ZA, and Kelly was listed as an official. Nissan invested over $44 million into ZA, even though it had no representatives from Nissan. In 2008, Kelly was promoted from his role as head of human resources and organization development in Nissan USA to become Nissan's corporate vice president. In 2015, he became a representative director at ZA, with authority to represent the company. According to the whistleblower, Kelly ordered the confidential purchase of several real estate properties, explaining that the transactions had to remain confidential for security reasons. During the financial year 2011-12, funds directed from ZA to a dummy or shell corporation were used to buy and renovate luxury houses worth over $19 million in Brazil and Lebanon. Ghosn reportedly used these properties for personal purposes. Underreporting compensation. Ghosn's compensation was reported to be approximately $10 million per year since 2010, when Japanese companies were required to disclose the salaries of top officials. There were concerns that Ghosn was underreporting his actual compensation each year to avoid local and overseas criticism of excessive remuneration. Over 8 years, the company failed to disclose more than $90 million in compensation for Ghosn. His future total compensation was fixed but not yet fully paid, with parts set aside for payment upon retirement. The disclosures also failed to include stock options granted by Nissan and his salary as head of the Nissan-Renault-Mitsubishi Alliance. In 2017, Ghosn's total salary from all alliance companies was estimated at $16.9 million, $8.4 million from Renault, $6.5 million from Nissan, and $2 million from Mitsubishi. Ghosn's salary as Nissan's chairman was nearly 11 times that of Toyota's chairman and higher than the total payment for the 21 highest senior executives at Sony Corporation, another Japanese company led by a foreign CEO. Ghosn instructed his human resources team to create 2 salary amounts for him, one to report in the company's financial statements and another to report upon retirement. Unveiling the fraud. Nissan CEO Saikawa was aware of this plan, as were the company's internal auditors. According to the findings of the internal investigation, Ghosn and Kelly had decided that Ghosn would be paid $124 million in cash and other financial instruments as future salary for his advisory role. Ghosn entered into various secret contracts approved by Kelly and issued backdated letters authorizing himself undisclosed cash bonuses as incentives. The investigation and subsequent scandal shocked the entire automobile industry. An external panel of experts reported that the fraudulent activities were made possible both by the unchecked authority allowed to Ghosn over a long period and by weak internal controls. The structure of Nissan's board. Nissan's board of directors had 9 members, including 1 female and 8 males, with 5 Japanese and 4 foreign directors. Carlos Ghosn appointed 3 of the 9 directors from outside the company. In 2018, Nissan's board did not have subcommittees to handle specific tasks. Instead, there was only a statutory audit committee, not a regular audit committee. This committee oversaw the appointment and functioning of internal auditors and reviewed their audit procedures. The auditor was selected and appointed by the chair, subject to board approval. Nissan's independent auditors were local affiliates of Ernst & Young Shin Nihon LLC, who had also audited Olympus Corporation and Toshiba Corporation, both of which had faced corporate scandals. Executive compensation and reporting issues. Since 2009, Japanese companies were required by Japan's Financial Services Agency to report the annual salary of any official if it exceeded 100 million yen, approximately $800,000 at the time. Executive compensation included retirement bonuses, which had to be reported once fixed. Nissan was found to have falsified documents and manipulated compensation details to avoid disclosing retirement bonuses and incentive compensation linked to the company's stock price. Ghosn's compensation was underreported for 8 years. Greg Kelly, who served as Nissan's representative director for ZA, did not disclose his annual compensation from 2013 to 2018, even though it exceeded the reporting threshold. Lack of oversight and transparency. Japanese corporate governance did not require auditors to opine on executive pay unless its impact was considered material. Nissan's auditors did not consider underreporting amounts of 5 yen to 10 billion yen as material due to the company's 11.9 trillion yen in annual revenue. The board of directors lacked both a compensation committee and a nominating committee. Starting in 2004, Ghosn was given the authority to determine executive and director compensation, including his own, within certain limits. This meant he had the power to set salary levels without oversight. Kelly determined the compensation for almost all staff except top management and handled contracts, legal matters, and administrative issues. Questionable appointments and governance issues. Without a nominating committee, Ghosn chose the company's independent directors. In April 2018, Nissan appointed 2 independent directors without business or management experience, a race car driver and a Japanese bureaucrat. Nissan's cross-shareholding plan with Renault created another governance issue. Renault owned 43% of Nissan's shares, while Nissan held a 15% non-voting position in Renault. This structure prevented minority shareholders from controlling or restricting misconduct by Ghosn or other Nissan officials. Misuse of company resources. Ghosn's sister received advisory fees from Nissan for no deliverables. Ghosn also used chartered jets and Nissan's corporate jet for personal travel. Since 2009, a CEO reserve fund enabled miscellaneous expenditures beyond departmental budget policies. These amounts were spent on CEO matters, which remained undetectable and were considered pre-approved by the CEO, making them difficult to question. Ineffective board meetings. The average duration of meetings with the 2 newly appointed directors was less than 20 minutes. Ghosn avoided questions or dissenting opinions in board meetings. Auditors who voiced concerns about Ghosn's decisions were not re-elected. Directors, officers, and employees feared losing their jobs if they objected or presented their own views. Lessons learned. The issues at Nissan highlighted the importance of strong corporate governance and internal controls. The lack of transparency, oversight, and effective risk management offered valuable lessons for investors and stakeholders about the potential weaknesses in corporate governance structures, especially in Japanese companies. Conclusion. Nissan's corporate governance failures during Ghosn's tenure underscore the critical need for robust oversight and transparency in corporate management. These issues led to significant consequences for the company and its stakeholders, illustrating the far-reaching impact of weak governance practices.